thank the grace of Heavenly Mother, compassion of Maitreya Buddha, and virtue of Situ Simu, also Senior Masterly and Junior Masterly, for giving me this opportunity to host this class. Today we are going to be sharing on the explanation of harvest time from perspective of I-Ching and Yin and Yang.
Very exciting class today. We are going to talk about many things. So let's begin. Here is the first slide. Most of us know Yin and Yang by the energy, the light and dark. So this is all the description for the Yin and Yang, the negative, feminine, passive, anything has to do with darkness and negative energy. So that's Yin. And Yang is all this thing here. So can we say, oh, I think Yang is much better. Can I just stay with Yang? No, we cannot. Can I give you an example? Say, can we have 24 hours of sun? We cannot. We also need the moon too. Same thing for our emotion. We cannot always stay happy. Sometimes we have to come back to our stillness. So these two things really complement each other. So I want you to look at the Yin and Yang, not as good as bad. We need two to complement each other, just like the sun and the moon, happiness and sadness. The slow and the fast, the high and the low, they complement each other. So if we look at Yin and Yang can be interpreted in different ways, especially you make it into 4 quadrants. So Yin and Yang can be explained in the way of season, like this: spring, summer, fall, and winter, or also everything that's being created in our universe, which is a creation, growing stage, harvest, and destruction. And the last circle represents our human cycle, or all the life cycle in all the sentient being. And of course, this includes our 7 emotions and 6 desires. In our emotion, we experience the rise of thought, and when the thought is mature, we will put it in action. And then we complete the action, and then we come back to ourselves, and then another emotion comes about. So that's the emotion part. And also, of course, we also understand that the Yin and Yang can also apply to our career. There's the beginning stage, and the growing stage, and the maturity stage, and of course there will be a decline stage. So this apply to our business too. Family member, they come with us, but eventually they are going to fade away. So this is the fact of life. So one time I asked a master, what about the computer, laptop, our chair, our lamp, our printer? Master told me that all these things, such as cups, paperclip, and pencil, those will last for a long time because they are human-made. Those are non-natural stuff. Everything will go through its cycle. So things like diaper, cups, styrofoam cups, those does not fall into this category. And I want to point out to you one thing. There's one thing that does not fall into this category, which is our inner being, our Buddha nature, our Tao. So all these are the same thing, our original pure consciousness. Our original pure consciousness can survive without going through this cycle of Yin and Yang. So if you look at Yin and Yang a little further, a little deeper, you will realize this Yin and Yang also represent the time zone, especially from the scale of years. You all see this before. Each time zone represents Chinese zodiac, starts from the red, oxen, and all the way to the pig, and each one represents the years. So not only that, this also represents the time zone too. The Chinese divide the time zone in a day into 12 time zones. So from here to here, it's 0 to 2 o'clock, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. So each section represents 2 hours. Now let's look at this one. So if you type in Yin and Yang on the website, you will see a lot of Yin and Yang picture. So I want to point out to you that all this are considered good yin and yang symbol. If you are talking about energy, this works fine. But if we are talking about time zone, time is the essence, the time zone, the year, the cycle of the universe. This has to be the one. The white part on the left, the black part on the right, because this is the creation of everything. And you will also see this one too. This is the original yin and yang shape. It looks like this, invented by Zhou Dunyi in 1017 AD. So this one is also a good yin and yang to look at. And so does this one. This one was the original shape of yin and yang. So when you look at the website, when you do Google search, most of them is this kind of shape. Make sure it's white on the left, black on the right, if we are talking about the time zone. And of course, if it's talking about energy, the yin and yang, of course, it flows anywhere. The white part can be on the right, can be on the top, or can be on the bottom. So here is the yin and yang in the 12 zodiac in ours. Again, here we talk about 0 to 2 is one segment. So here is a total 12 segment. And if you look at this one represents darkness. This one represents light. Now let's get into our topic for today. So today we are going to talk about the cycle of the planet, the Earth. So somebody in Chinese history discovered the planet Earth can be divided into 12 time zones, which is this one. So before I get into further, I need to explain to you about the I Ching part. So this is the introduction of the I Ching part. So the I Ching was developed by 4 authors. First one is Fu Xi. Second one is King Wen. Third one is Du Qiu. Fourth one is Confucius. So Fu Xi, he is the first one. He is considered a Buddha or a saint, ancient saint in almost 2800 BC. He developed this 8 triagram. You know, he was also an emperor too back then. So an emperor back then, he can communicate with heaven, with God. He spent so much time observe the universe. And finally, he discovered there is something behind the universe that the creator is trying to tell us a message. So he invented this 8 triagram. King Wen of Qiu developed this 8 triagram into the 64 hexagram. Triagram is a symbol of a 3 diagram or a 3 bar. The 64 hexagram, each hexagram consists of a 3 triagram on the top and 3 triagram on the bottom. So that's what you see in the 6 symbol in the I Ching. After Fu Xi invented the I Ching, and also King Wen of Qiu developed the 64 hexagram into the 64 diagram. And after that, there were many scholars of I Ching want to look into further on this subject. And one of them is Shao Kangjie. He's also named Shao Yong. He was a philosopher, cosmologist, a poet, mathematician, and a historian. He had a major discovery on the timing of the planet Earth. And he spent a lot of time develop his diagram from this part into this part. So I want to go into the detail on what does each element means. So before we get into the diagram, the 64 hexagram in the circle, I have to explain to you what the symbol of I Ching means. So the best way to look at this is that, you know, when we were in school, we were studying the alphabet, the 24 alphabet. So in I Ching, there's 8 alphabet. It sounds simple. It's much easier than the 24 alphabet. So here we have heaven, lake, fire, thunder, wind, water, mountain, and earth. So your question becomes, why does this represent heaven? So this doesn't really make sense. So let me explain to you. First of all, this one is heaven. Heaven is represented by 3 lines. Can you imagine our heaven is infinite? And it has 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, because it has so many dimensions. Wuxi just used 3 lines to represent the plurality. Therefore, when you see 3 lines, it represents heaven. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, lake. Lake, this one, if you look at my picture, it won't be too hard to understand. So one day, Fuxi was looking at the lake, and he see on the top, there's a rippling effect on the lake. But he also see the sky in the lake too. As you see, there's a reflection here. Therefore, this is how he come up with the symbol of lake. 2 broken lines on the top and 2 straight lines in the bottom. Or you can look at this way too. You can see earth is down below the lake, and then the water is moving on the top. So this one, you have to look at the ratio. So as you see the lake right here, there's more earth than the waving appearance. So this 2 bars represent the earth, and this one represents the wave. Hence, this is the symbol of lake. This one is fire. Use this one to start the explanation first. You can see there's a fire going on here. And how can the fire be burned? It needs the support of the air and the oxygen. So these 2 lines represent the air and the oxygen. When you look at this symbol, you have to put yourself as Fuxi's position. If you are Fuxi, that you can communicate with God, and you want to put it in diagram, because 3,000 years ago, there was no text, there was no character. And Fuxi can only use very simple diagram to represent what he wants to say. Look at this fireplace too. You can see that the wall is on the side and the fire is burning. And here is another example. Fire is burning in the middle. You need oxygen to support a fire. This is the symbol of fire. If you flip it 90 degrees. Next one is thunder. Thunder, as you can see, from heaven to earth. So it's like striking down. Many things are moving. And earth is down below. So there's many activity in the air or in the scene that we can see visually. Therefore, this symbol represents thunder. So I'm just going this very quick. So here is wind. So if you look at wind, how would you know there is a wind? By looking at it, you won't be able to see it unless you see the tree is moving. You see the leaf is moving. You see the flower is blowing this way and that way. So there's a tree here, and the leaf is moving. And the sky, it's still there. Therefore, the wind is represented by 2 straight lines of sky, and then 1 broken line of line, which represent the moving element. And water. So this is water. Water is the blue line represents the continuous flow. And the broken line on the side represents the rocks. The earth is being broken into pieces by the water. Imagine the water is a continuous flow. It does not stop. It does not stop. It's only whatever next to the water, it will be separated, such as the sediment, the rock, the little rock, the big rock, and the grass, the weed. So I create all this image because I want you to picturize what does this symbol represent. I hope that can help you. And this one is mountain. I love the picture of mountain. So if you look at the mountain, you see mountain does not move. So it's represented by 1 line. But here, there's a lot of action. There's farmers, multiple farmers. There's a farmer's kid, and within the farm, there is the cow, the pig, the chicken, and then the movement, maybe the cat and the dog. So many things are moving. So with so many things moving, we have to look at the ratio. Mountain is the ratio of movement, it's only 1. And then the movement on the earth is 2. That means there's more movement on the earth than on the mountain. So that's why you see here, this diagram it represents the mountain. The last one is earth. Earth, you don't need me to explain. You can see the water break through the earth into different sections. Therefore, this is earth. So if you look at this, earth is the most easy one to remember. Earth is like broken into pieces. And then heaven is like 3 straight lines. So now let's look at this. This is the formation of a triagram. In the beginning of the universe, in the beginning of the cosmos, it was really nothing. In English, it's called the absolute. In Hinduism, it's called sunyata, or emptiness, or purity. In Chinese, it's called wuji. In Gnosis, or in the Hebrew, it's called yin, yin sof or. So this is called wuji. Wuji, it means there is something, but it's total stillness. And out of wuji, something start to move, and that becomes taiji. And that movement split into 2, because within this movement, it derives the movement, the yin and the yang. Within the movement, there is the active and the passive. So that's why we see there is a 2 symbol here. Originally, it was just the white and the black. And it's through further development, the white has black in it, and the black has white dot in it. So the formation of heaven is, we look at the earlier picture, and you take this 3, which forms the heaven. This forms the lake. Straight line, and broken line. And then fire is straight line, broken line, and straight line. Same thing for thunder. It's this 3 here. Straight line, broken line, broken line. Water is broken line, straight line, and broken line. And same thing for mountain. And of course, the earth is the same. So here, I want you to pay attention to earth. Earth is 3 broken lines. Heaven is 3 straight lines. And then the next one I want you to remember is water and fire. You see that they are opposite of each other. For example, heaven and earth, you see 3 broken lines versus 3 straight lines. So they are opposite of each other. And look at fire and water. When the water has broken line, fire has a straight line. When water has straight line, fire has broken line. And so does the next one. So this is Fuxi's discovery from heaven. He put it into this diagram here. As you can see, this is heaven, this is earth. They are south and north, opposite of each other. They complement each other. And the fire and water, they are right across from each other, and they complement each other. Or I should say they are opposite of each other. So these 4 are the 4 main diagrams, or the 4 main triagram, because they set the stage horizontally and vertically. So Shao Kangjie, he further manipulate the A triagram into 64 hexagrams. So this is the A hexagram that he used on the top of the table. And then this one is also another set of the triagram that he used on the right side of the table. So he basically put them all together. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The bottom row, it's all 1. And on the top is a repetitive formation of 1 to 8. So does this one. And so does this one. And all the way to number 8. So you can see in the top triagram, it's always changing. the bottom triagram is always the same. So this is the famous arrangement done by Shao Yong. This is called the 64 hexagram in the table. Now let's look at this. With that 64 hexagram in the table, he further arranged them in a circular shape. He said if he further arrange it, it's in a circular shape, and this represents the cycle of everything. So as you can see, one, this is the first set, second set, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, and eight. So within this first set, as you can see in the bottom triagram, it's the same using the triagram here. I want you to look at this as this total 6 line here, the top triagram and the bottom triagram. Think of it as like in the English term is the prefix and the suffix. Okay, so the root word is always the same. The bottom one is always the same for 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is all the same, but on the top it rotates. So if you look at it carefully, the bottom one is the same for 8 times. It's being repeated 8 times, but the top one is being rotated between each set. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on the top one, it will rotate again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So now we look at this picture here. There is total 64 hexagrams. And then Shao Yong, he divided them into 12. So each one has 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. But there are 4 that has 5 plus 1. And that's because, remember I told you to pay attention to this 4 main one, the heaven and earth, the fire and water. This 4 is like the chief. They are in charge. They are in charge on 4 corners. Here's the heaven in charge on this corner, fire in charge on this corner, earth in charge on this corner, water in charge on this corner. So supposedly each one is 5, but because the chief is in charge, so whatever the chief is in charge, that becomes 6. So there is the 60 hexagram plus 4 equal to 64 hexagram. So here I want to point out to you something important. Some of you already received Tao. You remember your hand symbol? You do, right? So your hand symbol, the position of hand symbol is to hold your hand, one on the position of Zi and the other position of the Hai. In Christianity, this means the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So we know that Zi is the beginning. And then after going through this circle, Hai is the end. So when you hold your hand symbol, putting the Zi and Hai together, you are holding the Alpha and Omega together. You are holding the Zi and Hai together. That means you have the whole universe within you. This is the significant part of the hand symbol. I'm happy that you guys attend this class today because finally you know where the position is for Zi and Hai. So Zi represents the beginning, which is the Alpha. Hai represents the ending, which is the Omega. So when you hold these two together, it means you are the creator too. You are in charge of your whole life. So Shao Yong, he discovered the cycle can be divided into 12 time zones. And 12 time zones, each one represents 10,800 years. So let's look at what I have here. So the first 3, it's pretty easy. It's common sense. 1 day is 12 time zone, which is equivalent to 24 hours. 1 month is 30 days. That's still good. Cool. 1 year is 12 months. That's still good. And this one is a little, some of you cannot understand. One generation is 30 years. To me, I don't really understand why one generation is 30 years. It could be that back then they have short life, they have less technology, they don't have much medicine. So that's the only thing I can interpret. So this is Shao Yong's interpretation. One generation is 30 years. Each period is 12 generations, and that's equivalent to 360 years. In one epoch is equivalent to 10,800 years. One cosmic cycle is 12 epochs, which is 129,600 years. So we have a 12 epoch here. Each epoch here, you see my writing here, each epoch here is 10,800 years. So here we have 10,800 years, another 10,800 years, another 10,800 years, and so on. So within each epoch, there are 5 hexagrams. If you would divide 10,800 years into 5, what would that be? That would be 2,160 years. So each hexagram is 2,160 years, each one of them. As I mark here, 2,160 years, 2,160 years, and so on. So with Shao Yong's calculation, he was able to use the 64 hexagram calculation into the 12 time zone, and this is what he come up with. So basically, we are right here. You see there's a green period, the red period, and a small slice of white period. So the green period is governed or harvested by Dipankara Buddha. The red period is harvested by Shakyamuni Buddha. The white period is harvested or will be harvested by Maitreya Buddha. So this is the harvest time of 3 Buddha. I use the term harvest time because it's the time towards to the end. Here we have the creation quadrant, which already passed. This one we have the growing quadrant, which already passed. And now we are in the harvest quadrant. During the growing quadrant and some of the harvest quadrant is ministered by 7 Buddhas. So 7 Buddhas, this timing is already passed. Right now, we are in this white period. This white period is from a little white slice here all the way to here, but it will end before the Shen epoch. And the total time will be 10,800 years. So let's look at the picture closer. So on this quadrant, the growth period is already passed, right? And here, beginning from Wu, this is the harvest time. The harvest time, 5,800 years already passed. And here is the green period, which I indicated here. Green period is 1,500 years, governed by or harvested by the Sankara Buddha. The red one is 3,000 years by Shakyamuni Buddha. So we are in the tail end of the Wu phrase of this big pie chart here. We are in this 500 years now. So if you ask me, within the 500 years, where are we now? I cannot tell you because I'm not Shao Yong. There is a lot of scholars studying which timing we are in now. So for our class today, I can only tell you that we are in this small slice of pie here, about to enter Wei, but we are in the tail end of Wu. And then after this 500 years, we are going to enter another 10,300 years. You and I will not be here, but this timing will be harvested by Maitreya Buddha. So I want to tell you that as time goes on, see that the white part gets less and less. If we look at here, there's a lot of white. Here, it gets a little less. So by the time when we come over here to the end, the white is only a little bit. It's towards to the destruction. It's towards to the end time. I named this as the harvest of 3 Buddha. in the Christian term, they call it the harvest too. Why is it called the harvest? Because in the harvest time, the farmer will pick up the good crops, and the bad crops will just leave it alone, degrade by itself. So this is the time to separate the good crop and the bad crops. So same thing for the harvest of three Buddha too. During this time, it's for the humanity to separate the good and the bad. Therefore, it's important for us to continue our cultivation. Stay on the good side. Stay on the good side, continue our spiritual cultivation. So as you can see, each epoch here is 10,800 years. So from here to here, if you add it up, which I put it here, 5,800 plus this, plus this, plus this is 10,800 years. So we are going to come to an end. On the white period, when you add this two up, it's going to be 10,800 years. In our lifetime, if we don't cultivate, what are we going to be in our next lifetime? Where are we going to be born? Which country are we going to be born? Are we going to still be so fortunate, be born in Argentina, Brazil, USA, Europe, or if somebody who is less fortunate, they will be born in some third world country where they will not even hear the preaching of Tao, hear the preaching of Dharma. What if when we are born as a Muslim, then we will not hear all this teaching at all? Then that will be so devastating. Let's not wait for any time for cultivation. The time is now. So if you look at this chart here, you say 10,800 years. If you multiply that by 12, the duration will be 129,600 years. So some of you might wonder, wait a minute, that's kind of short compared to the scientist figure, but I will explain to you later. So during our ritual, we also worship to the deity of longevity. He say that he has been through the cosmic cycle at least 7 times. What does that mean? In this cycle, it's a cycle of phenomenon happen on Earth, and we are in this cycle. So the deity of longevity has been through this 7 times. 7 times. So can you imagine that the dinosaur time was not included here? Paleolithic period was not here. This is only a fraction of the cycle within the universe. So by the way, the deity of longevity, you can see he has a protrude forehead, and he always carry a cane with him. So if we talk about Shao Yong's 64 hexagram in the circle, his figure is 129,600 years. So we have to kind of compare to the scientists. What does the scientist say about our gracious time? So the most recent gracious period is a Indian interglacial period. It begins about 130,000 to 110,000 years ago. And this interglacial period is already passed. Now we are in the Holocene glacial period. And the Holocene glacial period began about 12,000 years ago to 11,500 years. So this is the beginning of Holocene glacial period, interglacial period, and then this is the current time now. So during this time, you can see that the temperature has stabilized. So Shao Yong's figure, it's relatively small compared to Hindu's teaching. Keep in mind, Shao Yong's teaching or his discovery is the cycle of the earth of certain phenomena. So in Hindu's figure, it's about the whole universe, the beginning of the universe. If you look at the Hindu scripture, there is 4 yugas. The first one is Sati Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Right now, we are only in the first quarter of Kali Yuga. And when does Kali Yuga begin? The Kali Yuga begins in 3102 BC. So what happened to 3102 BC back in China? So during this time, it was just 300 years before the period of Dipankara Buddha. So in that period of Dipankara Buddha, in the green period, remember I say only the emperor can receive Tao. This is the time that Kali Yuga begins. In Chinese history, 3102 BC, only the emperor can receive Tao. So imagine out of the whole country, only one person can receive Tao. That's very rare, very rare. That means out of the whole country, not many people are so virtuous, except the king or the emperor are virtuous. So that's why the Tao can be transmitted from emperor to emperor to emperor. So it was during this time where Kali Yuga begins. So if you would take this number at our time now, right now we are in 2020 AD, Kali Yuga already has 5,122 years. So Kali Yuga has 432,000 years minus this number. That means we have 426,878 years left. That's still a long time. If you would look at here, the whole thing, in the period of Kali Yuga, people are considered doing a lot of dark things, like they are more attracted to the external environment. So what happened to the Sati Yuga? In the Sati Yuga, people are, I shouldn't say people, they are half God and half human, demigod. They communicate mainly through mind. They don't communicate through their physical body. They only communicate through mind. In other words, if I want to tell you something and I tell you and I think about it in my mind, you will get a message. So this is what happened in Sati Yuga. You can imagine this is how the Buddha and the angel communicate. And here comes the Treta Yuga. The being communicate through their eyes and their minds. They basically communicate from what they see. And then in this period, the being communicates through the breath, through the smell, through the taste. And it is in the Kali Yuga where the human totally forgot to exercise the mind. And in Kali Yuga, people start to use everything. Everything has to do with our physical body. In this time, we are more sensationalized. We are more attracted by the material environment. Where in the people in the Sati Yuga, they are more in tune to their inner being, to their inner world. So if you add this four together, it's 4.32 million years. This is just a fraction of the cosmos. If you will add this together, it's 4.32 million years. That's one kalpa. And that one kalpa is just 1 day of Brahma. So 4 days of Brahma is the daytime and the nighttime. That's 2 kalpa. 2 kalpa is equivalent to 1 full day of Brahma. So the universe is total of 100 years of Brahma. So if you would do the math, that would be 4.32 billion years times 2 kalpas times 360 times 100. So based on the Hindu scripture, this number is the cycle of the universe. So this is not what I say. This is what the Gadula Purana say. This is what the Hindu scriptures say. So if you are interested, you can look into this further. And here I have a video that I'm not going to show you, but later on you can look at it at your own time. In the YouTube, there is also a lot of video about why we are in this Kali Yuga. So in the Hindu scripture, there's a lot of description about why we are in this Kali Yuga. There's a lot of sign. It's almost the same thing as our Tao teaching. During this time, the ruler or the king, the president, they no longer promote spirituality. They often openly display animosity towards each other. People are ignoring the Dharma. People get married for physical attraction, not for spiritual reason. And there's a decline in religion, decline in virtue, truthfulness, tolerance, mercy, and people will commit murder with no jurisdiction. Greed, mercy, and jealousy becomes a common norm in the society, and there's just more lust. People are more attracted to the external material world, and sin will increase exponentially. And there's increased addiction to intoxication of drug and alcohol. And of course, plague will increase. As we can see now, 2 years ago, we have no idea what plague is about. We have no idea what disease is about. And just now we realize the plague is just right in front of our eyes. It's in our household, in our neighbors, in our community. So we are more having more awareness of what's going on in this outside world. These are the signs that's indicated in the Kali Yuga that we are in the end time. And also our environment continue to deteriorate it. So after our class today, maybe start to look into, there's a lot of eschatology from Buddhism. Buddha say that after he passed 5,000 years, there will be the end time of Dharma teaching. Buddha Maitreya will come. And Hinduism talks about a different time in a bigger scale. The Mayan, the Aztec, explained that the year end will be 2012, which already passed, and we know that it's somehow true because our environment is going down to the tube. And Zoroastrians have a different prophecy too, Judaism and Christianity. So there's a lot of perspective on eschatologies. It really doesn't matter which one you look into. There will always be a lot of discrepancy. There will always be a lot of discrepancy, and that's fine. But you can see they are going to the same direction of heading to darkness. Our situation is not getting better. And of course, if we study Tao, we know that we are in the harvest time. And what's after harvest time? It's called the destruction period. Of course, you and I will not be here anymore. So it's important to look beyond this. Just like the Hinduism scripture says, there will be 4 yuga, the Sati Yuga to the Kali Yuga, from the brightness to the darkness. And for the yin and yang, there's the beginning period to the harvest period. We have 3 choices. One is to rise above the yin and yang circle, rise above the light and darkness, or to flow with the cycle. That is, if it's darkness, we stay in darkness. If the light come in, then we flow with the light, or we completely stay in our own darkness. Say in the outside world, it's already in bright, but you decide that you want to stay in darkness. So we have 3 choices: to rise above, to flow with the cycle, flow with the environment, or to keep yourself in your own circle. It's very important that from this lesson today, we focus on our celestial gift, and that celestial gift is the Tao that we have within. This Tao, our original inner consciousness, is what's given by God, and this is what you and I all have. So we need to hold on to our celestial gift, transcend above the darkness. Do not ride with the cycle. And we want to rise above the yin and yang, activate our own celestial gift, Tao. Always find a sacred space within our mind, within our portal, within our heavenly portal. Always find stillness within ourselves. Every day we are very busy, but always spend some time with ourselves to park in the heavenly portal. And another thing we can do is to accumulate virtue and good deeds. So by doing this, we will not flow with the external environment, and we can focus on our celestial gift. So that's the end of my presentation. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya, Qigong Buddha, Sizhun Simu, Lord Shiva, and the deity of longevity, Shao Yong, and Senior Master and Junior Master Li. Thank you so much.